103 by Henry Lawson. With the frame of a man, and the face of a boy, and a manner strangely wild, and the great, wide, wondering, innocent eyes of a silent suffering child. With his hideous dress and his heavy boots, he drags to eternity, and the warder says, in a softened tone, ŁKeep step, 103. ԼTis, a ghastly travesty of drill, or a ghastly farce of work, but 103, he catches step with a start, a shuffle and jerk. ԼTis, slow starvation in separate cells, and a widow's son is he, and the widow, she drank before he was born. Keep step, 103. They shut a man in the 4x8, with a 6-inch slit for air, 23 hours of the 24, to brood on his virtues there, and the dead stone walls and the iron door close in as an iron band on eyes that followed the distant haze far out on the level land. Bread and water and hominy, and a scrag of meat and a spud, a Bible and thin flat book of rules, to cool a strong man's blood. They take the spoon from the cell at night, and a stranger might think it odd, but a man might sharpen it on the floor, and go to his own great God. 103. It is hard to believe that you saddled your horse at dawn. There were girls that rode through the bush at eve, and girls who lolled on the lawn. There were picnic parties in sunny bays, and ships on the shining sea. There were foreign ports in the glorious days. Hold up, 103. A man came out at exercise time from one of the cells today. ŁTwas the ghastly spectre of one I knew, and I thought he was far away. We dared not speak, but he signed ŁFarewell, farewell, and I knew by this and the number stamped on his clothes, not sewn, that a heavy sentence was his. Where 5 men do the work of a boy, with warders not to see, it is sad and bad and uselessly mad. It is ugly as it can be, from the flower beds laid to fit the jail, in circle and line absurd, to the gilded weathercock on the church, agape like a strangled bird. Agape like a strangled bird in the sun, and I wonder what he could see. The fleet come in, and the fleet go out? Hold up, 103. Closing parenthesis. The glorious sea, and the bays and bush, and the distant mountains blue. Keep step, 103. For my lines are halting too. The great, round church with its volume of sound, where we dare not turn our eyes, they take us there from our separate hells to sing of paradise. In all the creeds there is hope and doubt, but of this there is no doubt, that starving prisoners faint in church, and the warders carry them out. They double lock at 4:00 and the warders leave their keys, and the governor strolls with a friend at eve through his stone conservatories. Their window slits are like idiot mouths with square stone chins a drop, and the weather stains for the dribble, and the dead flat foreheads atop. No light save the lights in the yard beneath the clustering lights of the Lord, and the lights turned in to the window slits of the observation ward. They eat their meat with their fingers there in a madness starved and dull. Oh, the padded cells in the ŁB, so are nearly always full. Rules, regulations, red tape and rules, all and alike they bind. Under separate treatment place the deaf, in the dark cell shut the blind. And somewhere down in his sandstone tomb, with never a word to save, 103 is keeping step, as hell keep it to his grave. The press is printing its smug lies, and paying its shameful debt. It speaks of the comforts that prisoners have, and holidays'll prisoners get. The visitors come with their smug smiles through the jail on a working day, and the public hears with its large ears what authorities have to say. They lay their fingers on well-hosed walls, and they tread on the polished floor. They peep in the generous shining cans with their ration number 4. And the visitors go with their smug smiles. The reporters'll work is done. Stand up, my men, who have done your time on ration number 1. Speak up, my men. I was never the man to keep my own bed warm. I have jogged with you round in the fools'll parade, and Ylve worn your uniform. Ylve seen you live, and Ylve seen you die, and Ylve seen your reason fail. Ylve smuggled tobacco and loosened my tongue, and Ylve been punished in jail. I clang the spoon on the iron floor, and shove in the bread with your toe, and shut with a bang the iron door, and clank the bolt, just so, with an ignorant oath for a last good night, or the voice of a filthy thought. By the gypsy blood you have caught a man, you'll be sorry that ever you caught. He shall be buried alive without meat, for a day and a night unheard if he speak to a fellow prisoner, though he die for want of a word. He shall be punished, and he shall be starved, and he shall in darkness rot, he shall be murdered body and soul. And God said, Thou shalt not. Ĺ seen the remand yard men go out, by the subway out of the yard, and Ĺ seen them come in with a foolish grin and a sentence of 3 years hard. They send a half-starved man to the court, where the hearts of men they carve, then feed him up in the hospital to give him the strength to starve. You get the jail dust in your throat, in your skin the dead jail white. You get the jail wine in your voice and in every letter you write. And in your eyes comes the bright jail light. Not the glare of the world's distraught, not the hunted look, nor the guilty look, but the awful look of the caught. There was one I met, ŁTis a mate of mine, in a jail that is known to us. He died, and they said it was ĺTis, but he died for want of a truss. Ĺ knelt at the head of the pallid dead, where the living dead were we, and Ĺ closed the yielding lids with my thumbs. Keep step, 103. A criminal face is rare in jail, where all things else are ripe. It is higher up in the social scale that you'll find the criminal type. But the kindness of man to man is great when penned in a sandstone pen. The public call us the criminal class. But the warders call us ዄth men. The brute is a brute, and a kind mankind, and the strong heart does not fail. A crawler's a crawler everywhere, but a man is a man in jail. For forced desertional or drunkenness, or a law's illegal debt, while never a man who was a man was reformatable by punishment yet. The champagne lady comes home from the course in charge of the criminal swell. They carry her in from the motor car to the lift in the Grand Hotel, but armed with the savage habituals act, they are waiting for you and me, and the drums, they are beating loud and near. Keep step, 103. The clever scoundrels are all outside, and the moneyless mugs in jail. Men do 12 months for a mad wife's lies or life for a strumpetal's tale. If the people knew what the warders know, and felt as the prisoners feel, if the people knew, they would storm their jails as they stormed the old Bastille. And the cackling, screaming half-human hens who were never mothers nor wives would send their sisters to such a hell for the term of their natural lives, where laws are made in a female fit in the land of the crazy fad, and drunkards in judgment on drunkards sit in the mad condemn the mad. The high church service swells and swells where the tinted Christs look down. It is easy to see who is weary and faint and weareth the thorny crown. There are swift-made signs that are not to God, and they march us hellward then. It is hard to believe that we knelt as boys to for ever and ever, amen. Warders and prisoners all alike in a dead rot dry and slow. The author must not write for his own, and the tailor must not sew. The billet-bound officers dare not speak, and discharged men dare not tell, though many and many an innocent man must brood in this barren hell. We are most of us criminal, most of us mad, and we do what we can do. Remember the observation ward in number 42. There are eyes that see through stone and iron, though the rest of the world be blind. We are prisoners all in ɁTis's great jail, but the governor, he is kind. They crave for sunlight, they crave for meat, they crave for the might have been, but the cruelest thing in the walls of a jail is the craving for nicotine. Yet the Spirit of Christ is everywhere where the heart of a man can dwell. It comes like tobacco in prison, or like news to the separate cell. They have smuggled him out to the hospital with no one to tell the tale, but it'll little the doctors and nurses can do for the patient from Starvinghurst jail. He cannot swallow the food they bring, for a jail-starved man is he, and the blanket and screen are ready to draw. Keep step, 103. What were you doing? 103. And the answer is 3 years hard, and a month to goal, and the whisper is low. ೞTis the moonlight, out in the yard. The drums, they are beating far and low, and the footsteps light and free, and the angels are whispering over his bed. ŁKeep. Step 103. L.